Hey everyone, today we're looking at a fairly boring, but I think interesting to some people, depending on what you're looking for, device. So the XU10 is a budget-friendly device, but as we'll look at the end, it's not super cheap. But what you're getting is you're getting some joysticks, some Switch-style joysticks. You're getting some pretty decent buttons. These are very similar to the ones that you see on Power Kitty, the older Magix, that sort of thing. They are clicky, but soft press. And then you've got this weird separated design, but don't let that fool you. If you press this, you'll see that all the buttons move, which means that these buttons, it is just a normal D-pad with this little X design in the middle. And we'll get into it, but this is going to be quite a short video. You've got shoulder buttons, very similar to the Miu Mini Plus design. We'll look at that now as well. You've got power, the G button. Is it the G? A reset button over there. The G button is on the side if you need Gs. And then a fairly decent screen volume button on the side here. No operating system card because the operating system is on the device. And then a ROMs card over here. All right, so let's power it on. So it's got that Magix startup. The thing about this is you can't get rid of that. Like, I haven't seen a lot of people fiddling around with mods with these because, anyway. Oh, and before I carry on, I just want to say thanks to Go Game Geek for supplying this device. So pricing and stuff in this video will be their pricing, not because I have to, but because it's a good place to buy for shipping, and especially these sorts of devices that you can't find everywhere. And if you want to sort of shop around, it gets really confusing. If you just go to Go Game Geek, it makes it really easy. So it makes it really easy for this video for me to go to that website and say, look at these prices. And then if you want to, you can shop around from there. So the reason I say this is interesting for some people is that it has this sort of generic arcade operating system on it. Like, us as hobbyists won't like this because it is just like what you see is what you get. But it does keep things very simple. It's got a little guide here on how to use the buttons. So if you are afraid of all these devices that I'm going to advise you buy instead of this one at the end, that does make it quite nice. Now let's open a game quickly. Oh, so the A buttons here. So it's got switched A buttons, which again doesn't really make sense because this is a retro gaming device. Most of the systems you're going to play are going to have the A button there and the B button there. So that is weird. So the thing is, if you do end up with this device, if you do end up buying it, there's a lot to like about it. Like this G button gives you a universal menu, which is very favorable to people who are super freaked out by all these devices. So it's got a save state, it's got a restart, it's got a load state. You can open some cheats and you exit. And that is it. The navigation buttons are muddled. So there I had to press B to exit, but then in here I need to press A to open. So it's not unified, which again defeats the purpose of being user-friendly to people who are freaked out by all the fancy ones. Then in the main menu, you've got this. But another thing that I wanted to talk about, Anbernic and Power Kitty, I think, and then like if you get into the Retroid devices, which is the one that I'm busy obsessing over right now, you don't get games with them at all. But Anbernic have stopped putting Mario games on because of licensing issues and the risk of being sued by Nintendo. Okay, this took forever for me to find. I saw it in testing, but this does have Super Mario games on here. There's a whole bunch of hacks of them even. So if you want that, it's on here. The other thing that is important to note with this is a great thing. Like when I was doing a podcast with Simon Dingle, he said these are great to give to your kids. And that's true. This sort of one that is just set up, ready to roll. It's great to buy as a gift for a child because it's all set up and ready to go. And it's quite easy. I mean, it even tells you what the buttons do. Quite easy to just pick up and play. So that is nice. But it's not easy to tweak. You can add ROMs, but you might run the risk of messing things up. It's just finicky, So the problem with something like this is that in trying to simplify it, like the thing about emulation, and I think about this a lot, is that it is a complicated thing. Like me giving the Miu Mini Plus to my friend over Christmas, that I think is the ultimate device. And I'm getting ahead of myself because it simplifies something that's very complicated very, very well. This does it almost in a brute force manner, and I don't think it quite does it. Okay, so Sega Saturn, they've got Sega Saturn games on here, and I'm sure they kind of work, but I haven't really even tested it because I think that's really a waste of time. So other cool things about it is it does, try to play PSP, so that's nice. It's got a lot of N64 games, and although some of them stutter, some of them actually play really well, so that's really good. It even has Game & Watch games. Game & Watch games are those games from the very olden days, so you'll have to be quite old to know what I'm talking about. So those are the Game & Watch games. This is a colorized version. I don't really remember this one, but it was little images that you control over a very primitive LCD screen. So it's even got these. But let me explain why I don't think you should buy this. I really don't. And, even though Go Game Geek sent this to me, I don't recommend this device. What I recommend is one of these two. This is the Anbernic RG35XX Plus. It came with extra power and all that, and a review is on the way of that one. And then we have the Miu Mini Plus, which is still my favorite, spoiler alert. Both of these have Wi-Fi. This does not. Now let's look at the pricing. This is the Miu Mini Plus, $80. That is with some games. That is a 32 gig option. Then you've got the Anbernic. Let's just make sure. Yeah, $80 with some games. And then you've got the XU10, which is 64 gigs, $75. But the build quality, obviously you're losing the sticks, but the types of games that are going to play on here, I know PSP works and all that sort of thing, but I just don't think this sort of device is geared towards that. If you really want to push it on those games, it's fine, but I know a lot of people are going to argue with me. And then lastly, what this is competing with is it's like a clone of the RGB20S. And the RGB20S has had sticks and all that kind of thing, and it sticks at the top. And the more I kind of progress with this, the more I just I like the RGB. Actually, I didn't like the RGB20S. I didn't give it a good review. I still don't like it, and I don't know why everyone's cloning it, because I think these are way, way better. I just think sometimes, forget about the sticks. Just get a really nice device that does a really good job. This one has more power, it has Wi-Fi, and it has HDMI output. This does not have HDMI output, and it doesn't have Wi-Fi. It has an OTG, so you can use external controllers, all that, not important. This one has Onion OS. That is a huge plus with the Miu Mini Plus, and it has Wi-Fi. So these can do album art scraping and other special features, but that's the main thing, and just are quite powerful and can play quite a lot. This one is technically more powerful, but I just think this form factor, this kind of device, I would rather take the power knock, if that is correct. I'll correct myself on the screen if I'm wrong. I would rather take the power knock and get one of these devices. They are just better built, nicer devices, fairly good support. This is a no-name brand, it's like comes from somewhere. These are Miu make this one, Anbernic make this one. It's brands. So a little bit more support, and there's a lot of more community support on these devices. Anyway, as I said, very short video today because I just don't think this is worth it compared to what's out there on the markets. And a review's coming out on both of these soon, so look out for that.